Hello everyone, this is your digital delivery lesson. Hopefully this doesn't get too weird. Today we're going to talk about adding and subtracting negative numbers. You might see on the screen that there's quite a few different strategies. We're going to look at each of them so that you can feel confident that you have at least one way that you know that you can add and subtract negative numbers and get the right answer every time. So we're going to start with a really simple one. We're going to start with 2 plus 3. Right, everyone knows that equals 5. We're going to use this example to show how to use the other strategies. And of course, you might not need to use those strategies for this easier one, but they will help once things get a bit trickier with other numbers. So let's start off with a number line. We are going to chuck some numbers on here. We don't need to chuck all of them. Let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And our starting number here is 2. So we're going to start on 2, I'm going to draw a little dot to represent that. We're starting it there. We're adding 3, so we're going to go to the positive side by 3. We're going to jump across 3. If we went negative, we'd go in the other direction. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and that brings us to 5. So then we just circle the number that we get to so that we know that that's the answer. That's a number line. Pretty straightforward. Colored tiles might be something that you haven't seen before. All it is we're saying that a blue tile or spot or whatever you imagine, just imagine you've got little blocks in your hand. A blue one represents a positive number, just one positive number, and a red tile represents a negative number. Now in this problem here, we aren't dealing with any negatives, so I'm just going to start off with 2 because I've got 2 here. Okay, and then I'm going to add 3, 1, 2, 3, and that gives me a total of 5. Pretty straightforward. We're not going to worry about a real life example or in words for this one. You know, Bob has 2 apples, he gets 3 apples, he now has 5, that kind of deal. We're going to keep moving on. Let's have a look at something a bit juicier. Let's look at So next one we're going to do is when we have a negative plus a negative. So let's say something like negative 3 plus 1. Okay, and we go, ooh, wait a minute. What is happening here? There's a positive and a negative next to each other and no numbers in between. That's a bit weird. Now let's remember what a negative number is, right? A negative is just 0 minus a number. We just get rid of the 0 because we're lazy and we don't want to write 0 every time. So let's rewrite this equation, but with the zeros in it. Now that looks a lot less scary, right? Because we know that something plus 0, we can just cancel that out. It doesn't really do anything. This 0 doesn't do anything here. So we end up with negative 3 minus 1. And that's a lot easier to deal with. Now, some of you might know that straight away. Some of you might need a little bit of help with the number line. So let's chuck one in here. Let's go 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and we are starting here negative 3. Then we're taking away 1. So this time we're going to go backwards because we're subtracting. So we're going to go back 1, and that gets us to negative 4. Okay, so we're doing negative 3, take away 1, we're going backwards 1 step to get to negative 4. If we want to represent that with coloured tiles or 0 pairs, remember that a blue is a positive and a red is a negative. Okay, so then let's chuck our colour tiles in. So we're starting off here with negative 3. So I'm going to put 3 negative tiles in to represent negative 3. Okay, then if we look at the original problem, we don't even need to simplify it to represent this with the tiles. We're saying negative 3, so this is our negative 3 here. Okay, and then we're adding a negative 1. So we can just add one more negative tile to to represent that. So we're going plus -1. So in total then, we have 4 negative tiles. So the answer is -4. And that gives us the same thing as what the number line gave us. So that's what we're hoping for. Okay, if we want a real-life problem version of this, we could think of money, or we could think of temperatures. Those are the two main ones that you can use here. You can use other ones if you like, if you know them. Here, we're going to use the real-life example of money. So let's say like Bob has $3 in debt. Okay, and he adds another $1 money. Now he has $4 in debt. He has $4 left. Whoop. Okay. We could also say here that the temperature is -3, and then it goes down by 1, and so now it's -4 degrees. That would give you the same kind of idea. In words, I'm only going to do this one once so that you just get the idea, but in the example on the worksheet you can see what's going on here. So we've got, let's do the original problem that's in blue here. So -3 plus -1 equals -4. Okay, so that's one basic example of adding a negative number. You could also go a positive plus a negative number. It would be a similar process. Let's have a look at doing some subtraction. Okay, so this time let's do an example where we're subtracting a number. So this time I'm going to go, let's start with something like 2 minus 3. And we go, ooh, wait a minute. I'm trying to get 2 and then take away a number that's bigger than 2. What's going to happen there? I'm going to go past 0 and I'm going to get a negative number as an answer here. So if we have a look on the number line, let's chuck in some numbers. 3, 2, 3. So I'm starting off at 2. So I'm going to draw a dot at 2. And I am taking away 3. So I'm going to go backwards because I'm taking away. So I'm going to go back by 3. 1, 2, 3. And that gets me to -1 because I'm taking away a number that's bigger than the number I started with. So I'm going to end up with a negative. If we do it with colored tiles, we're going to start off 2. So 1, 2. Okay. And I'm going to take away 3 blue tiles, but oh, wait a minute, I've only got 2 tiles here. How can I take away 3 of them? What I can do is I can add what we call a 0 pair. So I can just add on as many as I want to please. I can just add on a blue and a red together. Now they cancel each other out because we've got a positive tile and a negative tile. Those two together just equals 0. So this whole thing here is the same thing as just this here with just 2. All I'm doing is I'm adding these 2 in so I have another tile to take away. So now that I've got this many tiles, and I like to circle my 0 pairs with another color to remind myself that they cancel out to give 0. So here I need to take away 3. So then I'm going to get rid of, one note's being picky with me. I'm going to take away 3 blue tiles. So then what I'm left with is just 1 red tile. So that means that my answer is -1 because I've got 1 red tile. And that's the same as our answer down here on the number line. So we know we're doing the right thing because we're getting the same answer with different methods. It's a really good way to check that you're correct. If you do it multiple different ways and you get the same answer, you're doing something right. Okay, here our real life example could be that it is 2 degrees. Okay, and the temperature goes down by 3 degrees. Okay, so now it's negative 1 degree. Okay, another example there. Let's do another subtraction. Now here's the one that most people found really tricky on the starting question a couple of lessons ago. Let's do something minus a negative. That's going to freak people out a little bit. It's not going to be crazy once you know some tricks. So let's do something like negative 4 minus negative 3. I go, oh my god, what the heck is happening here? There's 2 negatives next to each other, no numbers in between. So let's have a look at this on the number line. So we can put down 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Probably should have pre-filled this out, that would have been smart. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's go with our starting number. So we're starting on negative 4 here. So I'm going to draw a dot on negative 4. Okay. Now here's the tricky bit. I'm going to take away a negative. So if you think of saying a double negative like, I don't not like Harry Potter, that means I actually like Harry Potter. I've just said a double negative. I cancelled out the don't by saying not. So it's a sort of similar thing with putting 2 negatives next to each other. I'm taking away a minus, which means that I'm actually just plussing. And it'll make a bit more sense once we do the colored tiles. We'll come back to that idea. But this actually means that I'm doing 4 plus 3. And that's your little trick to help you out. Once you've identified that the 2 negatives give you a plus, that makes this a lot easier because then I know I'm plussing. I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to go across by 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And that gets me to negative 1. Okay, and let's double check correct with our 0 pairs or our colored tiles as well. So I've started off with negative 4. So I'm going to put 4 red tiles in here. Whoa, that went a bit crazy. 4 red tiles. Okay, and we're going to look at the original problem. We're not going to look at a simplified version just to make sure that this whole negative equals a positive thing is true, because we don't just want to believe things on face value. So I am going to take away 3 red tiles because I'm taking away 3 negatives. Okay, so that's easy enough to do. I've got 4 there, so I can go 1, 2, 3. Taken away 3 negative tiles. So then that just leaves me with 1 negative. That gives me the same answer as my number line, negative 1. Okay. Real life example here. I keep using the same names. Let's say Susie has, how much debt does she have? So she has $4 in debt. Okay, and she then takes away $3 of that debt. So she's gotten rid of some of her debt. So that she has less debt now, right? She's gotten rid of some of it. She now only has $1 in debt. That's that negative 1 here. We don't say negative 1 in debt. She has debt. Okay, she has negative $1 left. That's the basic gist of it. I've run out of time. It's almost at the 15-minute mark. I might make another video going through another few examples. Hopefully that helps. Bye!